All right, this is rule number one for picking a good extracurricular, and it's called depth, not breadth. And this is the number one mistake that I see most students make, and that's because colleges are actually looking for you not to be well rounded. Many students think that they should be well rounded, and that's what colleges are looking for, but rather they are looking for you to be a specialist in whatever extracurricular you decide to do. And a good rule of thumb is if you have more than one or two extracurriculars that you're focusing on, it's probably too many. So say you work at Publix, you are passionate about art, and you're also on a football team. Like, that's all good. Really do what makes you happy. But doing all of those three and not really being incredibly involved in each is not good for your application. Colleges would rather you be incredibly involved in one of those. So, say you work at Publix, they'd rather you work there for so long you become a manager or do something exceptional with that job. Get promoted, do have a position that normally high schoolers wouldn't have. Or art. They would rather you be a renowned artist, have an art blog that people follow, or teach art to other people for free for communities that wouldn't have the program. Or if you're going to be an athlete, they'd rather you be really, really good and play for their college and be a D1 athlete or D2 athlete or whatever. And so the way you do this is by focusing on one passionate and become exceptional at it. They'd rather you focus on one passionate and be really, really good at it rather than do a bunch of different ones and not be good at any of them. And the cool thing about this idea is actually focusing on depth rather than breadth saves you a lot of time. So if you do many different things, like doing those three that I mentioned all at the same time, it's kind of hard to be good at each one. And it also takes a ton of time because you spend a ton of time bouncing around from each, and that takes up most of your week. Rather, instead of focusing on all three, you can choose one. So instead of going from Publix to football practice and on the weekends doing art, you just do art and maybe do an hour every day and a few hours on the weekends. And ultimately, that's going to be less time and you're going to achieve more because you're going to be with a constant theme, keep a constant train of thought, and not spend so much time switching between the three. So, this is actually going to save you time in the long run and be more effective with your time because you're going to be able to achieve more with one extracurricular than you would have doing all three.